when the whole thing first started, and I started trying to find a solution, almost monthly, I would Google ADA compliant virtual tours, and I'd come up with maybe someone who did just maybe the transcript version where you click the button and this screen popped up and it had text. And I would always think, next month, surely somebody's going to do it. And they just never did. And I kept searching. I mean, I would search every 4 or 6 weeks. And I just finally said, you know what? I'm going to have to invest in it. And I had to invest thousands of dollars and months to make it.
And so now you have a service bureau to either big brands or to Matterport service providers or service providers that are creating either Matterport or other virtual tours so that they don't have to build from scratch a player and then figure out how to do all the production elements within the tour.
There's one of the interesting questions that I've been getting from MSPs is they're asking me, how should I bill this? And, that's an interesting subject because if I had found a solution like I'm offering, I would just assume that I'm going to pass the charge on to this large brand or this university or whatever. And it's completely up to them if they want to mark it up. They're not really doing anything. And that's what I've said to the people that have asked me. It's like, do you charge for doing nothing? You're just a conduit to a solution. I mean, that's going to be a call you're going to have to make on your own. I don't know what your client dynamic is. I don't know how much they paid you for the tour, and they're expecting you to have a solution. So it's kind of a weird gray area.
Not for me.
I'm saying for me,
if I was paying for your services and delivering it to someone else, I would be marking up your services.
Oh, I'm saying I would just mark it up what it costs to the client because you're not doing any of the work.
Doesn't matter to me.
That's just my POV.
That's right. But I give you my perspective on that. Unless the client's picking up your bill directly, I'm assuming some risk. I'm laying out cash. I'm paying your bill. I'm definitely going to mark up your services.
And you're free to do that. You're free. You're totally free.
If I choose to be transparent and bring you into the conversation and have the client pay you directly, that's another matter. But frankly, if it was me, we get around, we would definitely be marking up your services because we're assuming the risk, we're paying your bill,
sure.
We're putting out cash.
And that's your prerogative to do that 100%. And you mentioned the key word there, risk. If we rewound to the beginning of this, remember I said there is no absolute answer for any of this. So all of this comes down to you having a compliant, you being the brand, having a compliant website to start with, and then we're giving you the tools. And there we have a full legal disclaimer that is on one of the posts that you put up today that says we're doing everything we can to follow the guidelines and best practices to make you compliant. The reality is the people with the litigious lawsuits, whether they're bad lawsuits or good lawsuits, if you're doing these things, they've got no case.
Okay.
I mean, you're making this content available to
a good point to just reiterate, as you mentioned, you're not an attorney, you don't give legal advice.
Nope.
We get around, me personally, I'm not an attorney, I don't give legal advice. What you're doing is your best effort, reasonable effort, to provide an interpretation of the website content accessibility guidelines, WCAG 2.0, in order to both meet the needs of disabled people as well as hopefully discourage any lawsuits
right.
against the client.